we have another signee today. This one, Shazz Preston, another very talented receiver in this group. Bone, here to break it down for you guys. If you haven't looked him up on Twitter yet, this guy is tweeting all the breaking news coming out today. Obviously, a big day of coverage. Go find him at Andrew J. Bone. And of course, go to BamaInsider.com. So we keep that up, that website updated as well as our YouTube page. But Shazz Preston, the latest to sign with the Crimson Tide. What do Tide fans need to know about this receiver? How big is this for the 2022 class?
Well, this is great commitment. I mean, you look behind me, you see Devontae Smith making that catch against LSU. Alabama just goes into the state of Louisiana and gets some elite football players, almost year after year. And they did so again this year by getting Shazz Preston, one of the best high school wide receivers in the country. He's 6'2", about 185, 190 pounds, physical dude, got great speed, runs great routes. This is kind of a do-it-all type football player, and he's rated as one of the top wide receivers in the country. He's in the top 50 overall in the Rivals 100, and certainly one of Alabama's key targets. And I was really impressed with with the way Alabama was able to recruit him, because they were not a top contender for him early in the process. He ended up making a trip to Alabama in June. After that trip, I interviewed him. I still didn't think Alabama was probably in his top two. I thought maybe in his top three, top four. They probably needed to get him back on campus again for another visit. Well, he ends up making a trip back to Tuscaloosa for the Champions Cookout in July. And after that trip, I really felt like Alabama had a great chance. He really connected well with the coaching staff. Really liked, obviously Alabama's development at the wide receiver position, and Pete Golding, Alabama's defensive coordinator. Even though he coaches on the defensive side of the ball, he really led the charge in recruiting Shazz Preston, as he does with all Louisiana recruits. But I thought Coach Golding did a great job developing that relationship, that bond, throughout the process. And, it really kind of came down to Alabama, LSU, Texas. Georgia was in there, but, really they were probably sitting at number 4 for him late in the process. Texas had done a great job recruiting him. Steve Sarkisian, the whole coaching staff, went in and saw him a couple of weeks ago. Now, LSU, they started to fall off a little bit for him after the coaching changes. Brian Kelly came in, and they didn't really hear anything from Coach Kelly when he first joined not joined the staff, but took over as the head coach. And he ends up getting a call from Frank Wilson, the associate head coach, ends up calling him saying, "Hey, we want you here at LSU. Can you come in for a visit this weekend?" This was on Thursday or Friday of last week. Well, Shazz was already set to visit Alabama again. So he ends up not taking that visit to LSU, visited Alabama instead. And, Alabama was able to win another prize recruit in the state of Louisiana. But this is a great football player. And, it's interesting because I talked to his dad the other day, and they really had a chance to sit down with the Alabama coaching staff, Holman Wiggins, Alabama's wide receivers coach, and watch a lot of film, watch a lot of different players on on the Alabama football team, and kind of see similarities between his guys and Shazz Preston. Really compared him to John Mechie. I mean, John Mechie, is your kind of do-it-all type wide receiver that is just so good in so many different ways, and that's kind of the same thing that Shazz Preston is. So this is a big signee for Alabama today, and somebody that I know they're very excited to have on board.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, like you said, Alabama winning another huge battle in the state of Louisiana, another big battle in the receiving room in the country. How has Alabama been able to have this much success year after year recruiting receivers?
Well, I think you have to look at the success of the receiver that they've had in Tuscaloosa. I mean, even though we see different coordinators, come and go. I mean, the production is still about the same. You still see, guys up for the Blitnikoff Award. You saw Devontae Smith winning the Heisman last year. I mean, it started with Julio Jones, but getting Calvin Ridley, getting Amari Cooper, those guys, and seeing the success that those guys had, opened up the door for so many others. And you look back at that 2017 group that was so special with Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy, and then you get Jalen Waddell the next year, and it's just continued to carry over. And they just get so many great receivers. Everybody saw what Jamison Williams and John Mechie were able to do this season. And Alabama, they're known for getting the ball around to wide receivers. We weren't talking about that. It seemed like a few years ago, and now it's a wide receiver's dream to play in this Alabama system. And even like I said, even when we see coordinators change, the offense still remains the same, and there's a lot of production for receivers in the Tide's offense. So I think they've recruited extremely well the last couple of years at the receiver position, and they're going to continue to recruit well for many years to come.
Yeah, they certainly will. I mean, an outstanding class in 2021. A lot of guys really getting their chance this season. Expect to see this receiving core do the same in 2022. Shazz Preston out of the state of Louisiana signs with the Crimson Tide. We're going to keep it going here on BamaInsider.com. Don't go anywhere. This is early signing day 2021.